Well, George Thomas joins us now. He was in Ukraine covering the war for the first 3 months and is now safe and back home. So, George, tell us, what's the morale like in Ukraine? What's sustaining the people?
Yeah, it's incredible, Gordon. I mean, in the initial opening salvo hours of the war, the anticipation, at least from the U.S. intelligence, was that within 72 hours, Kyiv would be encircled. The Russians would control the capital city. The Zelensky government would be decapitated. Well, what are we, day 84 into this war, into Russia's 3-day war? And listen, it's unbelievable. From Lviv, I went from Lviv, crisscrossed the entire nation all the way to Kramatorsk in eastern Ukraine, and the morale is so high because just imagine, the Russians were in Bucha and Irpin and Hormostel and Boryansk, and to imagine that the Ukrainians, with the help of the United States and other NATO allies, were able to, in essence, defeat the world's second largest army, push them back. And today now we're getting these reports that they've pushed them back all the way to the Kharkiv, to the Russian border, bordering Kharkiv. It's incredible. Absolutely amazing story.
Well, I've got to ask, can Ukraine actually win this? I mean, nobody expected them to last this long, but now it looks like it might even be turning. Is there any hope that they could win it?
Yeah, in fact, they are winning, Gordon. I mean, if you look at the efforts they've made in the last 3 months, they've been significant, and no one expected this. My prediction is that not only will Ukraine regain territory that it has lost to Russia since the invasion in on February 24th, but I'm going to predict and say that they are going to reclaim all territory that they lost in the first war back in 2014. Including Crimea. And the reason I say that is because the Ukraine of today compared to 8 years ago is very different. They have the military hardware, continues to flow. The weapons continue to flow in from Poland, from other parts of the neighboring of Ukraine. So the dynamics on the ground have changed significantly. And NATO has said it's going to be open doors from NATO military coming into Ukraine. It's going to be open season for them, and they're going to continue to take the fight to the Russians.
Well, let's talk about one of their defeats. So the fall of Mariupol. Yeah. It looks like Russia's concentrating its forces on that coast all the way to the eastern part, the Donetsk region, all of that. So what's the significance there of the fall of that city?
If you look at that map there, Gordon, you look at Mariupol, it's the second largest port for Ukraine. The first one is Odessa. 60% of all the imports coming into Ukraine coming through Mariupol and Odessa. The fact that they've lost today, they've lost Mariupol, is significant. Also, primarily because if you look at it, it gives them that land bridge that the Russians have been wanting since 2014 when they annexed Crimea there at the bottom. They had to basically go through the Black Sea. So today, instead of having to ship, for example, precious water that the Crimeans need, now they just need to have a land bridge going straight from Russia all the way down through Mariupol, through Kherson, and down to Crimea. But again, this war is not, we're still in it. And the possibility of the Ukrainians continuing to push the Russians out of Kherson and potentially going after Mariupol and other parts of the Donbass region is very, very possible.
Well, Russia still has a few cards in its deck, and that is nuclear weapons.
Sure.
Ukraine doesn't have that. So what's the significance of Russia deploying nuclear weapons on the border of Finland? And in the event that they really start to have even more losses and are in danger of losing Crimea, would they actually put tactical nukes in and use them?
Yeah. On the issue of Finland, in the near term, no, because, NATO, in essence, gets two very sophisticated military countries in Sweden and Finland. Both countries have been, buying weapons. I mean, they have the Finns have F-35, American F-35 fighter jets on order. They already have the F-18s. They have American defense missiles already deployed They have even the Israeli Iron Dome deployed. They have about 900,000 reservists, 280,000 of them they can call pretty much on moment's notice. So, you know, this was one of those things where the Kremlin again miscalculated that in order to, you know, by attacking Ukraine, they will divide, they will conquer, they will put fear in countries like Sweden and Finland. Just the opposite has happened, and the morale continues to be high. The nation of Ukraine is united like never before. You know, the thing I kept hearing over and over again these last 3 months, Gordon, is this, that they're fighting for freedom. You know this. They experienced what it was like to live under a totalitarian regime for 80 plus years when they gained their independence in 1989, and then they got attacked on February 24th. They don't want to go back. They don't want to live the kind of life that the Russians are experiencing today. And that is what they're fighting for at the end of the day.
Well, last question.
Yeah.
How can we pray for Ukraine? How can we pray for the situation? How can we pray for Russia right now?
Yeah, good question, especially on Russia. You know, people that I've been speaking to, both in Ukraine as well as in Russia, they're saying they're praying for a second wall to come down in Russia, that there would be a spiritual awakening that takes place in Russia. But for the church in Ukraine, they're bold, they're strong, they're continuing to do amazing work. They're all hands on deck from all levels of society. They've joined together, everybody opening their homes, opening their businesses, their restaurants. I mean, you look at what Orphans Promise is doing, crisscrossing the entire nation from Lviv all the way to the eastern part of the country. They're opening up their facilities, helping people in their time of need. I saw it, and it was just incredible to watch in the process. Continue to pray for them, that they would have the backbone, they would have the resources to minister to their people in the midst of what's going on. And the incredible news is that 3 months in, there are more Ukrainians now coming back into the country than those who are fleeing. That is good news for sure. And let me just take this moment, Gordon, to say thank you to the 700 Club family, to the CBN family, and to viewers around the country and around the world who prayed for me these last 3 months. And those prayers kept me safe, kept me alive, and kept me strong.
All right, George. Thanks for the service, and thanks for joining.